sides take pictures. So bad times were had.
I mean, you basically had your own.
So what I'm trying to say is, I hate my fans.
Well, I think we already had that one established. I don't know if if that was ever in question. So just further clarifying that point, I suppose. But looks like we did take care of the issues. So Aries, his computer is working, and we are back into the pick and ban. So we're already going to see some changes coming through here, with the Jhin being banned away by ESC, despite Logan having played that in the last 2 games. And it will be, of course, the Lee Sin away from Flawless, with Nidalee to follow, GP and Talia on the side of SBENU, and they will follow up with the Varus away from Tempt.
Yeah, so just sticking with the same band, SBENU, even though we are reversing sides. Rek'Sai definitely going to be going over here to Aries, gets his bread and butter back. And interestingly, the Gnar will be left up this time. And ESC not wanting Nuclear, despite his lack of games recently on the Jhin, to be picking up that particular champion. Flawless will be going for the Gragas instead this time around, so foregoing the Nidalee pick. And it should be the Karma again, one would assume.
See, they've been pretty reliant on that one. Yeah, Karma and the Gragas locked up. We'll see if that's going to go into the hands of Sasin or the Hens here in the support role. Probably going to be the latter, so you can at least save that last pick here for Sasin. But now with Jhin off the board, Sivir going to be very contested. Could just see Ashe coming out as well, as that is going to be one of the most prevalently played AD carries between both of these guys. As Nuclear, it's all just been Sivir, Ashe, Jhin for the most part for him in his run through the Challenger Series, and it will be Shen and Sivir picked up here for the side of ESC. So already good global pressure coming out with that Void Rush with Stand United.
Yeah, problem is that they take the Shen without a Trundle ban, and I think you ban the Trundle instead of Nidalee if you're on the blue side of your ESC.
Well, Gnar is also available, and Soul has played that in recent history, so could see the Gnar coming back out.
I don't know. I feel it's really awkward to take that Shen when the Trundle is still on the field. The amount of stats you can steal in the late game is huge, and you're still looking at what's probably going to be an 80 carry focus composition with this Karma. So they're not going to get the double speed boost this time. Ashe likely going to be coming in here for Nuclear.
Oh
Jinx.
My God!
Okay,
what?
So Nuclear is a legacy Jinx player. He has played Jinx many times off meta, all the way back to his days known as a player, Jinx main, named Zet Engine. So that's going to be coming back. I was kind of wondering if we were going to see that, and they've got a basically infinite peel. It's protect the Jinx composition here with Poppy and Gragas. So what is the answer going to be? I think you definitely take an Alistar here. If you're ESC, you need some way to initiate in the backline, and Alistar Shen is going to give you that option. Lissandra also high value pick.
Yeah, I mean, trying to lock down the Jinx with a Tempered Fate is going to be really rough.
No, I mean, she doesn't have any inherent movement abilities as long as she isn't getting excited. So Bard is okay, but I think you need something else here. I think you need a body to go back into the back line and really help the engage there with the Shen.
Yeah, I mean, the closest thing that they have at this point is going to be the Rek'Sai able to tunnel in. I mean, they have the movement speed from on the hunt, so they can shove Tempt in with this Vladimir. Sanguine pull his way into the back and try to just dump all of that damage in onto Nuclear, because that was one of the biggest issues in Game 2 was Nuclear on the Sivir having that spell shield, able to mitigate a lot of that damage and a lot of the engage with the Onslaught of Shadows, and that Hemo Plague. Not going to have that with the Jinx, but they need to be able to insert Tempt into the back line if they want to have any sort of success here.
All right, well, Tahm Kench, the very predictable last pick, no longer banned as it was in the first 2 games of this series. And that means that we are going to see a full Protect the Jinx composition. Well, this is interesting.
It's definitely a step off of the beaten path that we've seen. I mean, we haven't seen a Jinx locked in an LCK since Kramer tried playing it in Spring. And we all remember how that one turned out. It didn't go very well.
Well, this is a very different style of composition, though.
Yeah.
SBENU got a lot of tools to work with this Jinx. This could potentially work, but the laning phase is going to be a bit rough here for the Tahm Kench and the Jinx if they have to go against Sivir Bard with that amount of poke damage in the early phases of the game. And they also have to be very careful that the Shen isn't going to start ulting into the bottom lane in the early parts to really just try and shut down Nuclear. So ESC, if they can get Nuclear far behind, get him under-itemized, there is no damage on SBENU. So should be a lot of action in the bot lane.
All right, well, Jinx locked in. I'm excited. Haven't seen this in quite some time. SBENU, though, want to avoid that lost match. We'll see if they're able to do so and close out over top of ESC. Go ahead, get right in the game. All right, and Ocean Drake will be starting us off. So still not seeing any Infernal Drakes today. It's just been Oceans, Clouds, and one Mountain. But this Jinx coming in, Tahm Kench is going to be able to keep her quite safe. So lots of tools to keep everybody away from her. The explosive cask there for Flawless. And we'll see if he's going to be able to create some pressure here and help get Nuclear ahead early on. You get that Jinx spiraling out of control, and the game can absolutely just completely swing in favor of SBENU.
And now, just not going to see anything too unusual here at level 1. Just leashes for the junglers from the top laners. It's a Nuclear fan. Nuclear Jinx fan, actually. Couldn't read the last word there in time, but it's long been a pocket pick for Nuclear.
We'll see how it goes. I mean, Jinx, we've seen it teased by a couple of 80 carries throughout the summer split. They've covered it for a while, but no one has locked it in. Kramer, of course, being one of them. At this point, whenever I see Kramer hover Jinx, I just say, oh God, please no. See if he brings it out later today, actually. He will be playing in the next match against Kong New Monster.
I don't think so.
But,
I don't think so.
Almost certainly not.
Probably his coaches are back there right now being like, I hope SBENU loses, so Kramer...
Don't you get any ideas, Kramer?
Yeah, exactly.
You see this? This is a one-off. It's not meta.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, Kramer's just sitting there twitching like he must play Jinx.
No, he really just wants to play Ezreal and Lucian.
Yeah, well that's okay. He can play the Ezreal. He's usually pretty good at the Ezreal. I'm okay with that one.
Except when he loses lane, can't be a bit tricky to play Ezreal in the 2v2, especially if you want to go for a melee support at the same time.
Yeah, that is true. I don't know. We'll see what Kramer's going to bring out, but that's going to be a bit later.
Look, man, I just don't understand 3 games of Poppy.
Neither do I.
That's what I don't get. The echo is the echo's up.
Meanwhile, Luntara's sitting in the back going like, must play Poppy.
It's just so weird. Soul has spent so much time playing Dar, Trundle.
He's got a bunch of picks that he's played recently.
He's played Echo.
He's played Maokai. He's played Renekton.
I mean, these are not. This goes back to June and early July because he was not actually playing in late July or early August. It was Mimic in the top lane, so for some reason he is back in the lineup right now. Not sure what happened over on the SBENU side to change that up.
I don't know. I mean, if they lose here, there is still a chance that we could see Mimic in that losers match at the end of the day. And he's got an Alawi game under his belt, so we could see our first professional Alawi match here in Korea.
That has eluded us so far. It's been popping up in LCS, but...
Man, I wonder why it's eluded us so much, Monty.
Yeah, great champion.
It's
specialty of
how have the Koreans
relegated
not
team energy.
How good this is. Oh. Barry's probably watching from home and he's just sad now.
I mean, I'd be sad being Barry too. So.
Yeah. Good point. Thanks for latching onto that one. If you didn't touch on it, I was. Oh, Barry. He's going to bring this up at dinner tomorrow. Oh. It's okay, we love him. It's a strong word, but... well, sure.
No ganks yet. No jungler taking any kind of early attempt here.
Who would have thought?
And well, it's going pretty well so far for Nuclear and Lehens in the bottom lane.
Yeah, keeping a slight lead there in the CS, so they'll be in a decent spot. He hasn't gone out for a roam yet for any of his chimes.
Yeah, you do have to be careful with the bar just because you get too close there, you get eaten by the Tahm Kench and the rocket spam outside of range. Kind of slow poke here.
I mean,
Jinx, in spite of no sustain in this lane.
It's a decent combination because if you get the stun with the tongue lash, then you can. Oh, okay. There he's playing with fire a little bit there. So
well, really, what you do in this lane combination, and people probably forget because we haven't seen this in about a year now, but it used to be very popular. Jinx Tahm Kench, around the time of the World Championship, that was a big lane. And what you do is you eat somebody and then you spit them onto traps.
Yeah.
You walk backwards into traps and then you spit them on top of them.
I was going to say, even if you don't do that, even if you get a stun with the tongue lash, then you can layer the traps below the person and get that guaranteed stun yet again. So there's a lot of different ways that you can approach that, but yeah, this is a classic little matchup here, pairing the bottom lane. Of course, that was around the time when Tahm Kench, everybody realized just how busted he was.
Yep.
So I remember being in the player room with Cloud9, and Lemonation said, "Guys, I think Tahm Kench is really broken. We should play the support." And everyone was just like, "No, you're stupid." And then turns out he was completely correct.
Who's the stupid one now? Rest of Cloud9.
So they definitely owed him an apology over that.
It's all right. They had the mid Veigar. Their one strat was real good.
It worked for a week.
NA worked for a week.
Rather, it was a day.
NA worked for a week at the last World Championship, and then they stopped working.
I wouldn't even
entirely.
say NA, though. It was really just all Cloud9.
No, it's true. Well, I don't know.
CSM got, what, 1 win over LGD?
CLG got a win over Flash Wolves.
That's impressive, at least. Flash Wolves are a good team. Just qualified for Worlds. Took down J-Team 3-0 in the LMS yesterday, which was really surprising considering that J-Team was like dominantly on top for a while there, but he missing the Cosmic Binding, going to be taking a bunch of damage on his way into that magical journey as Flawless finds him in the river. So some deep vision coming through, but that pink is not long for this world, so goodbye, 75 gold. This is just
Really exciting.
so exciting.
Flawless putting down pink boards.
This is
That's a really bad pink board, by the way. That's not going to do anything later on. I mean, sure, it denies vision now, but they already know you're going to be clearing out that wolf camp and walking up to the blue buff. That's pretty obvious. So you could just come back later with the sweeping lens, or even just let it time out, honestly. Wasting a pink ward there that isn't going to provide you any value outside of that, especially because you smite the wolf camp and get the wolf spirit, so you still are going to be able to see anybody who comes into that side of the jungle.
It was a delay ward. You just wanted to, keep somebody preoccupied for about 4 seconds.
Yeah, I guess.
So you throw it down. That's all. It's worth the gold. But either way, just everybody farming up some slight leads in mid and bot here for the side of SBENU. Soul yet again struggling on this Poppy. This is the matchup that we saw for him in game 1. And he didn't do a whole lot in that game.
Nope.
So we're going to see if he can turn things around.
He didn't die either, but he just couldn't keep up with the constant ults of Shen. Crazy was very good at using his ult basically on cooldown and playing around the teleport of Soul to make the plays. And come out to a pretty strong early lead, up 7-0 at one point.
This time we'll Also see if Aries doesn't accidentally buy 2 Bomby Cinders.
That'd be a good start. Really what they need to do, though, is just really start considering diving here. They need to be able to dive effectively in this game to slow Nuclear down.
Yeah.
Use that Stand United, use the Tempered Fate and the On the Hunt in conjunction with each other to get underneath that turret and ensure some kills onto Nuclear.
Well, they have the level 6 now for Key. So if they can just position people down to that bottom side, they very well could go for the dive. Aries is going to short the wall. So I'll come up on the wrong side and have to run around to the Krugs. Not going to delay him too much, but we could just see him rotate down to this bottom side of the map and try to go for a dive. Looks like he's just going to go in for the recall since they spotted out Flawless, knows that he doesn't have to be around for any sort of counter gank. Can always snap back with a Void Rush if necessary as well, so he'll be all right. Temp's going to get aggressed on. It's a big burst of damage coming through from that Mantra Q in the Sentry Pool.
Does burn his Ghost. Now, this build from Poppy, we saw this in Game 1 versus Shen, but this is so awkward. Sunfire Cape, basically Soul is desperate to push the wave, but this does nothing to the return Sunfire Cape damage or the damage coming out of Shen. And this is so risky.
Yeah,
SBENU.
He's going to get stunned up. The Hens is there. The Devour, if it has to come through, Bard Ultimate comes out, catches 2 of them, and the Dragon. He going forward. He's alone inside of the pit. Flawless doesn't have the smite available yet. Goes in with the body slam, pops it, will get the Ocean Drake. Now stunned in onto Loken, but the Stand United's coming through and he's still alive. He's out of mana though, Keeper's verdict. Popping crazy just inside of the Dragon pit. He's not going to go too far. And SBENU will be able to exit safely in the end. Have to use a couple ultimates there, but overall getting the Stand United out of crazy, and they get the Ocean Drake.
Not a huge Drake in this particular game. It's not like ESC is really a poke composition. They're going to be pretty much all in, so. But it will be nice to keep Nuclear topped up in the laning phase. May eliminate some opportunities for dives there from ESC, but not the greatest engagement. Key tried to get in over the Dragon Pit wall with the Magical Journey and use that Cosmic Binding just to slow up Flawless right there, but not enough pressure to actually make it work, and a little bit of a failed attempt on the Stand United.
Things are starting to get a bit shaky in that bottom lane. Loken falling further and further behind Nuclear. Now down by over 10, but he's catching the wave at the turret, so Nuclear's still going to be able to bounce back and probably add more to that. You just keep shoving into that Sivir. He's got the BF sword with the Circuit Greaves completed to match that of Loken, but already has the Brawler's Glove and the dagger for the Zeal. So probably just going to see the Zeal come out into the Infinity Edge. So Nuclear going to be keeping things very consistent with the builds that we saw from Jinx last time she was meta.
Yeah, I don't know. He might go Randuin's. Or not Randuin's, Runins.
I was like, what?
That would be very exciting, no, Runins.
Well, yeah, I mean, Runins with the rockets
Runins
is pretty brutal, so very well could see that come out for the wave clear. If not something like a rapid fire cannon, so he can get that added bit of damage, or range in, so he can stay safe. So, or both. Could do that as well. So, a lot of options available to Nuclear, but the start is going to be staying the same. And Loken's just going to be looking at getting that Essence Reaver for the time being. So fire completed for Soul, a bit ahead of Crazy in that regard. But still just not going to be doing any damage to that Shen anytime soon.
You can see just waiting. Needed that Stand United to come back up. Have opportunities again. Take advantage of this, but Nuclear just getting a bit of a free lane so far. And to Flawless's credit, he has been setting up pretty extensively around the bottom side of the map and cutting off deep vision attempts.
Crazy getting some good damage in onto Poppy. This is exactly what we saw in Game 1. It seems like Soul, just, for whatever reason, not wanting to go back to a pick like Dinar.
And fact that the Gnar was up this game and not taken is actually mind-boggling to me, Achilles.
I mean, when we saw this matchup in Game 1, the Gnar was banned. It was banned in Game 2.
It's not like
And
Gnar,
now it's there, and it's just like, why don't you take it?
it's not like Gnar would be bad in this composition. You could still peel very well for a Jinx with the Gnar.
Yeah.
And Poppy's great for that too, but Gnar is better in lane and has a similar tool set when you're trying to peel for a hyper-buffed AD carry.
You can actually deal damage and zone the
And
Shen
split
away
push.
from the wave.
And split push.
Yeah. So just confusing pick here for SBENU and Soul, but it's down by 12. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's being made up for in both the mid and the bottom lanes at the moment. But you can see he's just sitting about 100 gold behind the Shen, catching up now as he gets the rest of those minions. So pretty much going to be close to dead even so far, but Ares with his 23 CS lead over top of Flawless will be creating a very slight differential in favor of ESC.
The Ares goes for yet another warding mission on the bottom side. We'll run into Flawless this time.
Yeah, just going to trade back a little bit of damage, not able to find too much. Looks like we might just have to wait another minute and a half for this second Ocean Drake to spawn. If SBENU can get that, be quite nice for their sustain. Sauce's going to get jumped on, takes a bunch of damage from Tempt. As the shield though fires off the Matra Q, and then he'll be safe to retreat in underneath of this tower. Trying to get the tether off, but not able to do so. Flawless cleared the ward there. He'll be able to get that. His presence is enough for ESC to go ahead and peel back.
I really want to try and clear out some of these pink wards, but SBENU has been fighting over vision control in the river well in this game so far.
Oh, Flawless. Cosmic fighting into the wall, takes a smattering of damage. Now that's going to push forward here from the heads out. Bard coming through, Cosmic fighting, not going to connect, has to pump the shield at the top. Kench looks like he might go down. Big heal coming through as he flashes away, going to try to keep himself alive. And it's going back in, gets locked up by another Cosmic binding. That's going to be Flawless going low, has to flash out. Temp still pushing up at the front side, trying to find a kill, and now Soul overextended it by himself, has to flash over the wall to take himself out to safety. Everybody, other than Saucin and Lehens, using Flash in that fight to get themselves out. Good pressure coming from ESC. They have to expend a bunch on their end, but they will be better for it. Might be able to create some pressure on this bottom side turret and maybe find that first brick gold.
Well, and the most important part is that Saucin and Soul both had to use the TP. That's absolutely huge. Getting both of the teleports out at the same time in exchange for just the Stand United is exactly what ESC needed. Would have been nice, of course, as usual, to get some more gold, and they're going to make an attempt here at the Drake.
Yeah, I mean, already the Ocean Drake on the side of SBENU, so didn't quite have to back all the way up to the base to get healthy. They come back in. That is the Void Rush used by Ares. Dragon going low, but it's going to be confirmed here by Flawless. Cosmic Binding connects onto Lehens, and Saucin is going to try to run out of here. The shield's still able to be popped by the top. Kench gets a slow in on the key. The Boomerang not going to connect, but the first blood goes over to Temp. He picks off the Karma in the end. Lehens still on the run. Loken going to flash forward. One more attack will do it. There it is. Comes up with the kill. 2 for 1, but ESC still had to invest a hell of a lot to get those.
Yeah, but it's huge that they're going to be able to crack the mid turret right now.
Yeah, it's going to be the body slam over the wall. Looks like Flawless will get himself out, and the mid turret will go down. First brick gold coming through from ESC, as well as that first blood, so they'll get a nice little lead to start things off. It's going to be 2.4 thousand gold in their favor in 18 minutes.
Yeah, nice pickup. They could give away the Drake for that. SBENU took long enough that the recalls had already come in, and Saucin caught there right in the river. Key trying to follow up here onto Lehens. Gray health popped into that shield, and looks like the Zap not doing enough to stop Loken. Loken didn't use his flash in the last team fight, so has it now to get the final 2 auto attacks and pick off the Tahm Kench. It's the gold lead that is most precious to ESC, and now that they've taken out the mid lane turret, this Vladimir is going to be more open to get deep wards in and help collapse onto the side lanes, and that's how you shut down the Jinx.
Yep, Rudan's Hurricane, first item now. More nuclear, still just sitting about 10 CS up. BF Sword as well, still hasn't been able to move that into any sort of item completion, so probably just going to be the Infinity Edge coming out. Meanwhile, Saucin looking for that Rabbitin's Death Cap as the second item for Karma. Had the most damage to champions in game 1, so looking to repeat that stat if possible.
Yeah, we just need to push these side lanes out right now so they can actually get the deep wards in. SBENU should not be able to be this far forward with a mid lane turret down. But they have that opportunity right now just because they have better vision control. Primary thing that needs to change.
Oh, Rift Herald gonna get ready to off itself here, gonna be untouched. And Baron will be coming up in 10 minutes, but if the last 2 games have been any indication, we probably won't see Baron taken for quite a while. Just gonna be time to farm up here for SBENU. Clear out these wards and try to maintain control of their own jungle. Saucin getting a little aggressive here on the attempt. Has to be careful here. He's still hovering around this mid lane. Wallace is there to bail him out. Did something happen, but probably would prefer to hold on to his ultimate for a crucial moment to try to keep Nuclear alive.
Pressure now really starting to mount on the bottom side. It's causing Flawless and Saucin to have to fade down to that objective, and ESC is, they're going to keep on farming just a little bit more every time in these minion waves compared to SBENU as long as this continues, and we should see that gold lead slowly grow. SBENU just has to hold on for as long as they can. Try and get into the late game where Nuclear will get absolutely enormous.
All right, well, they're going to commit to the tower. There's 4 members of ESC here. Teleport available from Saucin and Soul.
Nice traps.
Yeah, good damage in on the Tempt. Hitching him through the magical journey.
Yeah, that was a good reaction from SBENU. They pushed forward so that they wouldn't get surrounded and collapsed on underneath the turret, which caused the magical journey to come through so that ESC could safely regroup without one of their flanks being exposed. Took the worst end of a trade as a result.
Been playing around that, to hold on to that tower and their lives for a bit longer, but ESC starting to look a little antsy and trigger happy. Want to pull the trigger on something and try to pick off a couple members, but they just haven't been able to find a way in yet. 22 minutes just about on the clock, and just the 2 kills to speak of in the 1 tower in favor of ESC. Gold still sitting at about 2,000, so they haven't been able to grow it in these last 4 minutes.
Just about the slow and steady pressure game, though. Crazy goes in for a Tiamat as his next item, so he has a little bit more pushing power and can get Soul a little bit closer to his tier 1 on average. Here we go again.
Boy. Yep. Try to find this yet again, but Nuclear cuts down towards the wall, so Ares can't get into the knockup. And with Soul running down from mid, so Jinx will remain safe for the time being. Take away this Grom, give a little bit of extra gold. Man, I love standard lanes.
So great. Jinx everywhere.
It's amazing.
ESC, both teams, it's just been about the vision game. I keep saying that, but everything comes down to where these wards have been in the bottom side and the plays that are possible to be made.
The head's getting locked up. Bartlett comes through. Timber Fate will lock up Flawless and Ares. Ares gets connected on by those traps. Will make it for that magical journey. Rockets firing off from Nuclear. Not going to do a whole lot of damage yet. Needs to get that IE completed before it's going to be doing very relevant damage. Soul still sitting up top here. It's like might finally be able to even up the CS against Crazy, who has had a pretty nice lead over him for the majority of this game. Really taking low on the hunt, gonna get popped and trying to come in for the unburrow. Can't find him yet, but they take the magical journey, they get the cosmic binding, and he can't shield himself, and that's gonna be another kill coming through from ESC. Dragon now spawned Cloud Drake up for the taking forever if they want to opt into that objective.
Yeah, no Infernal Drakes so far this series at all in this best of 3. Interesting stuff, but
So that's my sign to knock out of the casino.
is that it?
Yep. If there's multiple Infernal Drakes, then I should go to the casino. If there's none, then I'm not going to roll any 7s.
That just means that I have all my clothes on because I haven't been able to play Strip Drake effectively.
How unfortunate.
I know, it's sad for you.
Yeah.
You're the only one who gets the view behind the desk.
Yeah. I mean, you already cast with your pants off, so it's close enough.
It's because of the Strip
I'm gonna let
Drake,
the people
man.
believe.
It's because of the Strip Drake. My favorite game.
Oh dear.
When you get the Infernal, it's hot. Take a piece of clothing off. Play it at home.
Oh man, that song, just like my childhood right there. It was so, you know, thinking about it, like going to a middle school dance and then playing "It's Getting Hot in Here," so take off all your clothes. It's kind of weird for kids like 3rd through 8th grade. Not really advised to play that.
I don't know. It's a pretty natural thing to do. Got to cool off somehow, Kelios.
Sure. But I guess the implication could be lost on children.
Exactly. Just take it literally.
Maybe
it's
not
fine.
this day and age. In my generation, it was definitely the implication was certainly lost to some. But I don't know. I think the exposure to that is much more prevalent these days, so kids will understand more at a younger age.
That's right. The internet is ruining our youth.
Yep. It's so terrible.
I mean, it ruined me.
I think I benefited from the internet. Now I'm just desensitized to everything crazy that the world can throw at me.
Yeah. See?
I can't be surprised by anything anymore. It's great. So did you hear what Donald Trump said? Like, nope, don't worry about it. It's not the craziest thing I've ever seen or heard.
Internet. Not even once.
Nope. Oh, Sasin gonna get caught up. That's gonna be the Tempered Fate coming in from Key. This Voyage coming through, trying to keep him safe. And so, unable to do a whole lot except take a bunch of damage. Cosmic Binding will lock up him and Saucin. And now ESC gonna go ahead and peel back, but working down a good amount of damage to the members of SBENU. Just not able to push forward and try to get any damage even onto that tier 2 yet.
Nope. Gonna switch up here for the tier 1 instead. Get the deep boards into the jungle. They're gonna have to play pretty defensive SBENU right now, considering that they had to abandon the bottom wave to respond to the pressure in the mid lane. So probably gonna lose the tier 1 in the top side now. Smart backing off there by ESC. Will be the Poppy. Of course, does have the TP to respond.
Just now working on that Iceborne Call. It has the sheen of the cloth armor from the Glacial Shroud. It's still a ways away, but another turret goes down. And so far, SBENU getting locked out of this game, except for those double Ocean Drakes that they're able to find for themselves.
5,000 gold is
Yeah.
pretty significant, especially considering the only major CS advantage here for ESC is in the jungle. So they've been able just to build it off of first blood, first brick, and getting those 3 turrets. SBENU, they've got to hold on for a while till this Jinx gets 3-4 items before they're really going to be able to fight, and even then they can only fight as a 5-man unit. Jinx is not there, they are useless.
Oh boy, Key taking a bunch. Ah, Flawless trying to keep him inside the Baron Pit so he could go down, but Casca's just going to knock him towards the exit, so he'll stay alive for now. Flawless trying to just posture forward and scare Ares out of the jungle, but he is a very tanky Rek'Sai already in this game. Cinder Hall completed with that Locket of the Iron Solari, so.
Well, Nuclear just gets a huge chunk taken out of him there, and that's the other
Yeah.
problem is that if there's any poke damage that hits Nuclear, he does not have lifesteal right now, really.
Yeah, and it's going to be even longer before he does have it because he's opting into the Last Whisper next. Completes that. Probably going to go for that Mortal Reminder with Vladimir on the enemy team.
Yeah, I definitely think going for the Mortal Reminder here, but at the end of the day, this is such a hard composition to operate because now that lifesteal is not as high priority for general AD carry itemization, you can run into some problems with compositions that are too reliant on an AD because any poke on the AD means that you have to recall and then it's just free objectives for the enemy team.
Yeah. So still just going to be in a bit of a rough spot here is SBENU, but all 3 of these games have been pretty similar. Just
No, I mean, this is a lot more similar to game one, where ESC was pretty dominant throughout the entirety of the game.
Sure, they had the lead. I'm just saying as far as the pace goes. So it has been just slow and steady, safety first.
Doing the safety dance.
Yeah, don't do anything crazy with your safety pants on. But not going to be the most exciting bout of League of Legends.
Now, everything's on the line right now. At least if you win this series, you have to lose 2 best-of-5s to actually get eliminated and relegated. Give yourself quite a few more chances to maintain your seed at the highest level of competition in Korea. So it does make sense that teams would be even more cautious than they are normally with so much on the line. And just, if you lose here, you have 1 best-of-3. And even if you win that, you have to win a best-of-5 afterwards.
Yeah, so definitely don't want to be in that position here for either squad. Rather just win out, get it over with, and be able to move on. But now 30 minutes in, just 3 kills. So we have a kill per 10 minutes. And just about 6,000 gold up for ESC. Flawless taking a little bit of damage. Now they're going to find Temp, goes into the Sanguine pool. He's still sticking around, drops the Hemo Plank now. We'll find 3 members with that. Gets a good burst of HP back. Wow, he's about half of his health. Flawless still going low, has the body slam away now. Soul up in the front lines. Not going to be taking a whole lot. Still pretty tanky Poppy. But Nuclear just not able to walk up and try to get into any position where he can fire off some rockets. He's just completely zoned off, and now ESC pinching in should be able to take down this tier 2 with relative ease. Crazy walking forward, Flawless arrives, the minion wave gets exhausted. So it looks like it will be able to stand for a little bit longer. But ESC, they're still fighting over this, they want this.
Karma shows up though, does allow them to posture forward and clear it out. Soul at least using Poppy to stop the taunt from coming in. Did have good timing on it right there, so the Shadow Dash not be able to follow up onto anybody. Still think Nar's the better pick. You want to fight in the jungles like that. If you can nail 2 or 3 people and have Jinx get a few auto attacks off,
yeah,
that is absolutely huge.
It's almost impossible to miss a wall.
Right. As opposed to knocking a few people back, you really just want them grouped up for mass rocket AoE.
Well, it's a 3rd Ocean Drake.
Ardent Sensor now done for Sasson. This has been his build. Themes into Death Cap into Ardent Sensor in the Karma games that he has played in this series. Ardent Sensor did come out on Lehen's last game also.
Well, Triple Ocean and a Cloud will be the dragons for the day in this set. And then Elder going to be spawning up soon. So 2 dragons apiece yet again. And not going to do a whole lot of good for either side outside of that on-hit damage. But at this point, going for an Elder Dragon is going to be a lot more of a liability. So no one's going to touch it.
Waiting here now. The Baron threat is pretty huge for ESC. Try and get a pick.
That's going to be the Bard ultimate coming out. They do lock up Lehen. The traps are thrown down. Might be enough to buy him some time. He pops the shield, still getting slowed out. The exhaust comes through, and he's going to go down. The kill comes over to Crazy. Now Tempt arriving in the backside off that teleport. It's going to come in. Nuclear will get popped with the Hemo Plague. And that is just one fast Vladimir using that Ghost to insert himself into the backside of the fight. And now the damage pretty much gone on the side of SBENU outside of Sasson. Soul going low. The Shadow Dash connects from Crazy as he flashes forward. 3 kills picked up. ESC finally starting to run away with this game. Crazy still stuck at the base, getting slowed up by Sasson. Can he make it through the magical journey in time? He can.
It's a great
stay alive, but there's still just not a whole lot that they can take right now. The wave not prepped in top or mid. Pings are coming out on the Baron. They could opt into this, but the death timers are pretty slow, and Lehen's has a missile voyage up.
Well, they can definitely do the Baron here. Whether they can get out with everybody alive is going to be the question. We'll see if Flawless has it in him to steal. They are looking to delay. They do see him with on the back of the pit.
They
There's
go
the
in,
taunt.
they get the taunt, but he can still go over for the seal. Flashes into the pit. He's going to be looking for this one. Can he outsmite him? It's not going to happen. It's confirmed by Loken, and that is going to be Flawless going down. Now flash over the wall from Saucin will take him to safety as he goes into the red pit, but ESC, they get the Baron, and everybody is going to exit quite healthy together. 7-0, 10,000 gold lead now at 34 minutes. ESC pretty poised to knock SBENU into that loser's match later today.
That was actually a pretty good smite there from Flawless. I think it had about 5 HP on it as we take a look at this replay coming through, and we're going to see it go down, 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 and let's see what Flawless does. Auto attack, and it looks like it was very, very close to getting stolen. It was an early shadow dash over the back of the wall, so a misplay there by Crazy. They had a ward, so they could have seen him during that play.
Well, all in all, now ESC with this Baron buff is going to help them knock down the rest of these outer turrets. Tier 2 in middle goes down, bottom being split on by Ares, and Crazy's working on top lane at the moment, so ESC going to be in a very comfortable position now. 12,000, about to be 13 ahead. And SBENU got to be getting pretty damn nervous at this point. Haven't been able to make this comp work. No kills coming through yet for anyone on their team, and Nuclear just hasn't been able to be impactful in these fights whatsoever.
The problem is Nuclear got caught out, and if he's not next to the Karma, he's basically useless. So if you can separate him at all, Temp made the good play on that team fight before the Baron to realize that just popping the Hemo Plague and slowing him up will give his teammates enough time to help him complete that kill. And without the shields there, there's just not enough. And this is why we don't really see single threat compositions anymore. They are very difficult to get rolling, especially in a meta where the early game is so important.
Well, on the hunt pop, Stand United coming through on the Temp, he's kind of trying to get right back into that back line. Can't really get on top of Nuclear. Will be able to drop the Hemo Plague onto him and Lahans. But now Soul in the front line being taken low. That's going to be the Devourer coming out from the Tom Kench. Keeps him alive, but the inhibitor will fall all the same. Wave still moving up close to the base, but a couple members of ESC junked out. Ares being one of them. So looks like they might just recall, spend this gold that they just earned for themselves, and then likely transition that into an Elder Dragon, which will be spawning in a mid 35.
Yeah, we've got time now. Base has been broken. The work has been done, and it's really unlikely that Nuclear is going to be coming back online at any point in time in this game. Still working up some attack speed with the Zeal.
Yeah, probably going to be the rapid fire cannon if I had to take a guess. So he can, sit further back, fire off those rockets at a safe distance. But even so, we've seen Tempt just able to stick on top of him, has that Rylai's Crystal Scepter, so he can just slow up the Jinx endlessly and really get on top of her with the help of that on the hunt. So now 15,000 just about in the lead is ESC, and they are poised to take this set 2-1.
Have to be methodical about how they close this one out. And that's what they were in game number 1. They didn't really give an inch when it came to the late game. SBENU always going to be a threat with how much damage a late game Jinx can put out. But probably at this stage, with how much armor is coming in onto ESC, and the GAs beginning to arrive here, it's not going to be a lot of hope for good resets from Nuclear.
And not at all on the hunt pop here. Temp coming in from the sidelines. They do get the Bard ultimate down on Nuclear. Missed time by keeping the Cosmic Fighting. Will find Lahenso in the backside. Temp still down to about half, pushing forward. Gonna flash in, trying to find some kills. But not able to do a whole lot. The stun not gonna connect. Stand United gonna be used onto the Vladimir to try to keep him alive. Crazy arrives. Good barricade up by Soul to stop the Shadow Dash from coming through. Now Temp taking that turret aggro is going to be burned down quite low. Has to use the transfusion to try to keep himself up. So far, all members of SBENU are alive, but they lost a second inhibitor. And the wave is still pushed. ESC good up to go over to the top lane, but looks like they might just be going for this Elder Dragon that has said spawn.
Yeah, I think you just go back right now, take the Elder Dragon. You have to be careful because you're going to be in a confined area when there still is a Runaan's Jinx, but there's not going to be any time for SBENU to take it. They do need to clear out the mini wave, but again, they don't have anybody to clear out super minions except for Nuclear, so they can't try and take a fight and TP in or anything of the sort. Only the Iceborne really on the Poppy for damage in conjunction with the Sunfire Cape. Not going to do a whole lot to super minions. And so, SBENU, it could have been game over right there. If that Cosmic Binding had landed out of the Tempered Fate, then they may have just been able to blow up Nuclear instantly and end the game. But they missed time to skill shot for Key, and they couldn't get the follow-up crowd control. So Nuclear remained a threat, and they have to go back and take this out instead. They grab a blue buff right now and then set their sights on the top lane, try and poke out with the true damage at the moment, and if they have that opportunity, they can just take the final inhibitor. If they don't have that opportunity, they can chain the Elder Dragon directly into a Baron. It will be about 15 seconds before Baron spawns when the Elder Dragon buff falls away.
Pretty close, but now they just want to kind of siphon SBENU up into this top lane, likely look for a fight. Wave's not there yet, so they're going to have to buy a little bit of time. But the super creeps are pushing in on that bottom side of the map and in mid, where the inhibitors are still working on regenerating. So still a ways out, a couple more waves. The super creeps will be barreling down the lanes towards SBENU's base. You can see already a mass of them starting to get onto that first Nexus turret. Nuclear clearing them out with a Gatling gun, but that's going to open up ESC to take out this final turret here in front of the inhibs, and the inhibitor should go down as well. They're firing out the zap, trying to zone them off. Temp not going to get tethered up, but a big Bard ultimate comes through, catches 3. Ares is there ready for the pop-up, will get all 3 of them, and that's going to be the Hemoplague down. Soul trying to jump away, but he is going to fall as that does pop, and Temp finds the kill. Saucin, the last standing member with Flawless, who's just not able to do anything. He's going to go down. Flawless on the back, gets jumped on immediately at ESC. They'll close it out 2-1 in about 41 minutes here. And they will knock SBENU Sonicboom into the losers match later today.
That's right, ESC moving on till later this week, where they will have 2 more chances. Just have to win one of 2 best of 5s if they would like to stay in the LCK for next season. It's a good start. Game 2, pretty sloppy. But games 1 and 3 were pretty convincing, actually, from ESC. Clean games. I mean, 12-0 in kills, 0 turrets taken by SBENU. So I have to think that ESC, had they not given up that Baron in game number 2, they did manage to drag it out to nearly 70 minutes, in spite of giving up the first 2 Barons and an Elder Dragon. And they almost won that game also, so ESC looking likely to stay in this league.
But now they get an innate advantage that SBENU will not have, because SBENU does not know who they will be facing later today, whether it's CJ or Kongdu Monster. They won't know until about 15 minutes before they get back on the stage.
That's right.
So it's going to be pretty stressful for these guys to make a return into the LCK. And ESC, they're going to have a couple days worth of preparation to get set for their next match. You can see the damage to champions coming out here. Loken turning on the heat, 30,000 damage done there, most out of everybody else. Saucin, yet again, having the highest damage here almost in the game, but the rest of the team is just not there.
And the big factor is the Jinx. But ESC did a good job of not giving the Jinx any time to fight.
Yeah.
They never really truly fought a 5v5. They were splitting members off and away, so they couldn't have that protected Jinx team fight that they were looking for.
Yeah, well, we're going to go to a quick break, guys. When we come back, we are going to have Kongdu Monster versus CJ Entis. Oh, never mind. I thought we were going to a break, but we're coming on camera now.
Well, yeah.